What's up, people? I am back for another video. Today, I was supposed to do this last night, but I fell asleep, and because I stayed up kind of late. But today, I'm doing two videos. I'm doing this one, and then later, I haven't picked the movie yet. I'm gonna find a Bruce Lee movie to review, but right now, I am reviewing Winnie Pooh, Blood and Honey. I remember they announced this, I think, over a year ago, and saying they're gonna do a horror Winnie the Pooh because Disney lost the not lost the rights. The rights became public domain. So someone's like, "Fuck it, we're gonna make a horror version of it." And I was interested. I remember seeing, then they showed the trailer. I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. Um, like I knew going in with this that it's not gonna be good on like on an objective level. I just figured, this could just be dumb fun, turn your brain off kind of movie. And I feel like it was that. I think people, though, I've seen some reviews. People, I think, were expecting more like it to be campy, and I'm kind of happy they didn't go that route. I still feel like they kind of took it seriously, but it still was campy enough. The only real negative I really have is the characters. The characters are just there to be fodder. And then when they try to give like the main chick, who I guess she has like some guy broke in her apartment, so she's like scared of being alone in a building. They try to give her like an arc, essentially. It, I think, and okay, so the story basically is Christopher finds Pooh. Because I guess they don't own the rights to like some of the other ones yet, so they only had Pooh, Piglet, and Eeyore, and Owl, and um, he befriends them. You kind of get like a little kind of animation, a little, which I liked. I thought that was kind of cool. This little beginning part, like that was animated. That kind of tells you the story, but then he ends up going to college and he ends up stop feeding them, and then basically winter comes, they're forced to cannibalize. Well, Piglet and Pooh are forced to cannibalize the others, and eventually started just hating humans, and basically they start, that's why they don't talk in the movie. At least in this movie, they explain why they don't talk, because they're going more to their feral instincts, and they start picking up, like, basically killing, like, missing people. So that's basically the story of it. But, anyway. Um, then, like, we do a time jump. We see, but I guess before I get into the plot, the movie itself is what, like, you have to turn your brain off, but it's a Friday the 13th movie. That's how I look at it. It's like a Friday the 13th sequel, just without Jason. Because I think Piglet and Pooh feel like, especially Pooh, there are so many scenes like he just feels like Jason. He even does like a head stomp kind of like Jason. So I was like, all right, like I didn't think this was gonna be good, but I thought it was fun. It's a fun movie. It's only an hour and 20 minutes. It's not too long. The kills are pretty decent for the most part. Um, I do think the only negative, true negative, I really have besides the characters, Christopher Robin should have probably been the main character. I don't really like what they like. You see him in the beginning, and then he gets kidnapped because his girlfriend gets killed, and he gets kidnapped by Pooh and Piglet, and then you see him in the end. I think he should have been like the main character throughout the film instead of this other chick who just was generic and uh but yeah, it felt like a Friday the 13th movie. These group of, they're kind of college age people, go to this house to like get away from the city, right? And they're in, yeah, this house in kind of a woody area. That's why I feel like it is kind of like a Friday the 13th movie. And Pooh and Piglet were effective killers. I think they were definitely some of the biggest positives. I had fun with them. It would have been cool to, Pooh does talk for like a second in the end. That was pretty cool. So, but overall, it's a fine movie. I watched it again last night. That's the other reason I didn't do a video, because I wanted to watch it at least one more time. And yeah, I basically have the same opinion. It's a fine movie. I give it like a 6.5 out of 10. It's not objectively good, but it's fun. If you want to just watch this just to see kind of what the fuck this is, I would say, I don't know if I'd say see it in theaters, maybe you could kind of wait, but it it's a fun little ride. And hey, you get tits, so there's nothing wrong. It's always good. So yeah, 6.5 out of 10. I would, if I were to watch it again, I'd be like high and drunk and just put it on in like the background or something. But yeah. Other than that, later tonight, I don't know what Bruce Lee movie I'm doing tonight, but I'll find one and I'll for sure review it because I've missed like 2 weeks of Bruce Lee, so I'll definitely get back to it. And yeah, so let's get started here. So movie opens up, we see you kind of get that animation of Christopher Robin meeting these animals, which I thought that was cool. You get like a narrator, you kind of sound, I like that. I'll say that. I really like that they do try to keep the fantasy element a little bit. Unlike fucking the mean one, at least this one tries to keep a little bit of the fantasy element in there. I mean, they try. Yeah, you could tell Pooh and Piglet are just guys in a mask, but they at least still try to keep, especially that opening. Yeah, this movie is way better than the mean one because I feel like this movie gets going. It's not boring like the mean one was. So I thought this opening was cool, and like I said, Christopher ends up going off to college because he was feeding them and kind of guiding them. Eventually, he leaves. They end up having to cannibalize Eeyore. Piglet and Pooh basically swore against humanity and stopped basically talking and started kind of, it's a little bit like the mean one where they started just kidnapping and killing people. So we now time jump. We see Christopher and his girlfriend. He's now an adult. Try to take her back to the spot where he saw them. Because he thought it's gonna be like, oh, he's gonna reunite with them. Everything's gonna be all nice, and then he gets there, like everything looks all fucked up. Mary wants him to leave, but he decides to stay, and then this is where Pooh and Piglet show up, and now like they look all aggressive. They kill Mary, and then take Pooh, and end up taking Christopher hostage. Then a group of students. I'm not even gonna really name them because their names don't really matter. I think Maria is like the main character. I'll just say that. Yeah, Maria's the main character. So they go to this. They rent a cabin because Maria had because her therapist, because she had a traumatic event because a person's been like stalking her, and they basically try to give her like this backstory that it's like, which honestly really feels like a Friday the 13th Part 3 thing. Because if you remember that, the main girl had to go back to the site where it happened, and it kind of did the same thing here. So because her therapist feels she needs to get away, and go to the woods. So they all go to the woods, and they cut to one of Mary's friends who are late, ends up getting killed by Pooh. Actually, I don't think she gets killed. She just gets taken. Actually, yeah, because she gets grinded up. Yeah, no, he does kill her. He kills her with which pretty brutal. Like the kills are not bad. I think if I were to be objective, the kills are pretty good, especially towards the end. Then we see Pooh walk down, and this is where we see Christopher all like beat up, and Christopher's trying to get Pooh back to his humanity, like saying like that he apologized for leaving. He didn't think it would end up like this and all that. Pooh, you think kind of it gets to it, but then he ends up flipping out and starts whipping Christopher, which I'll admit that seems kind of funny. It's just like. So that night, I think there's like a group moment with the girls talking about this is where we get like her actual story. We see it, which is just it's just all filler. Like they tried, it's like so they can basically make this somewhat of a movie. It's like we need to make it seem like we're semblance of making a movie. So we're gonna give these characters, or at least the main one, a somewhat backstory that we don't actually give a fuck about, but we're just gonna do just out of obligation. That's what it feels like to me. But I'll at least say this one I'm fine with being a movie compared to the mean one, which I'm like that could have easily just been a short film. I'm actually fine with this one being a film. I'm actually fine with it because at least this one I feel like it uses its time good because it gets going pretty quick. Because Laura's the basically I'm just gonna say it. She's like the hot slut chick of the group. This is gonna be the thumbnail of the video while she's taking pics for her Instagram in the hot tub. Pooh and Piglet take her, and then Piglet and Pooh kill her. Pooh kills her with a car. This is like you see it like he drives over her head. So the group end up finding the bodies. They start freaking out. They come back. I'll admit this is actually there's actually some good, legit horror shots. Like they actually somewhat try with the atmosphere. I'll give them that for like a low budget, very low budget horror movie. They at least tried to give it some atmosphere and actually give it like it legit feels like a horror movie. Like that's why to me I said like it's a Friday the 13th film. It feels like that a little bit. They come back. You see Get Out in blood on the windows, which okay, that's a cool shot. Then the killers go inside the house. They knock Alice, I think is one of the girls, out while they end up killing one of them. Piglet kills her with the hammer, pretty brutally too. Like they don't hold back on the kills in this, so like they at least like they put some work into it. So Pooh and Piglet take Alice away. The girls have to follow them back to their base. This is where they end up running. Kind of everyone runs into. This is where we see Christopher again. They end up untying him and another hostage who Charlene, I think, is like one of the reasons because her face is like all it's just like all her skin's all gone. Which I'll admit that was like they really do put some work into the effects. She calls out Piglet. Piglet, I think, ends up killing her. Oh no, not yeah. Piglet kills her, and then Pooh ends up chasing the other two while Alice confronts Piglet. She ends up knocking him out with the hammer and then tying him up in chains and basically starts going ham on Piglet for killing her friend. I think her friend. And then Pooh ends up hearing, I think he ends up hearing Piglet like does like a wail, and then Pooh hears, he comes back. This is probably my favorite kill of the whole movie. He impales her through the mouth with a knife, like through the wall. Like Michael Myers style, but you actually see it. Like he straight up stabs her through the mouth to the wall and she's like impaled through. And you actually see it. I'm like, God damn. He walks back, confronts Maria and Jess. They run into these like basically rednecks. Even though it's in England. It's in England, so I guess you can't call them rednecks, but they're basically rednecks for all intents and purposes. They end up confronting Pooh because they think he's just like some guy, and they try to beat him up, but Pooh ends up killing all of them pretty brutally. Like, because they end up like they even like hit him in the ankle with like tire iron. He's not even no selling it, like because if you do that to a normal person, that's like broken leg right there. But he doesn't react, and he fucking goes ham. And Christopher tries to stop Pooh from killing Maria. Basically saying, he'll basically kind of be a sacrifice of sorts, saying, I'll stay here with you. and you think Pooh's gonna let her go, and then this is where he actually does talk. You get the one dialogue, and he's like, "You." And I'll admit, I kind of wanted more dialogue a little bit because I actually liked the voice. He said like, "You left," and then slices her, slit her throat. And then yeah, Christopher runs off, and then yeah, the movie ends kind of. So it's a like dark ending, which I actually like. So overall, this is a fun movie. I would watch it in the background for sure. It's not gonna be. I knew going in, it wasn't gonna. The acting wasn't gonna be. You're not gonna give a fuck about any of these characters. They're just fodder. You're just there to see them get killed by Pooh. Pooh and Piglet were decent killers. I thought that ending is actually really good. I can't front. I actually really do dig that ending, and they don't hold back on the kills in this. So, and I like it. Kinda does take itself a bit seriously, a little bit. But yeah, it's a decent little slasher. That's all I could really say. I mean, for a film that I thought this was good, because I actually thought it was good. Because after Mean One, I thought this was gonna be like that bad, but it actually was pretty good. And they do keep a little bit of that fantasy element in there. So, but I do think Christopher probably should have been the main character more. Like you could have easily changed the story a bit that it was Christopher and maybe that girl Maria is like his girlfriend or something. I think that's the only thing you could easily just change that. But anyway, other than that though, it's a fine little movie. It knows what it is. It's nothing more, nothing less. So I would give it 6.5 out of 10. So, but anyway, I am gonna see y'all a little bit later tonight. I don't know what movie I'm reviewing yet, but I'll find one. Because I do want to get back into watching some Bruce Lee stuff. So we'll find something. But as usual, talk to y'all soon. And I thought Pooh, really quick before I end it, I thought they did a good job of with some of the practical effects. Like it didn't look like shit blood. Like they actually tried. Better than Mean, which there were some decent kills in the Mean one, but they kind of looked shitty. At least the kills in this look pretty good for a low budget movie. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Fuck Joe Biden. Peace.